Well, thank you, Jeff, for spending your time today to sharing your views on supply chains and specific issue around executive search. Can you start by providing a brief background of yourself?
Sure, Dustin. I am president and owner of specifically in the field of supply chain, the purchasing, moving, distribution of materials are really the area I focus in my practice at the executive level, which tends to be the director and vice president level, sir.
And can you talk about what is the current state of executive search in the supply chain field?
You know, it's definitely an interesting time for us. Supply chain continues to be a focus of specifically manufacturing companies in finding good supply chain talent. They've done a good job as organizations of taking cost out of the of other parts of the business, finance, HR, those type things. And so the supply side is really, I think, the next evolution. And it's been going on for a couple of years now. And so really looking for talent that can come in and essentially pay for themselves through cost savings and reductions of cost, whether it's the buying of material and negotiations, whether it's the more sophisticated warehousing of material and product, or quite honestly, whether it's the transportation and moving of material. Supply chain is very much a global product. And what's interesting is, you know, we had this scenario a number of years ago where everything had to go to the Far East. And what I'm beginning to hear, and it's just rumblings, I wouldn't say it's very big, but it's definitely beginning to be talked about is, you know, is that still the best place for us to be in terms of getting material, in terms of manufacturing products? You know, do we start bringing stuff back into the U.S.? Can we get competitive again here for my clients in the local area, local in the U.S.? Do we go to India? That tends to be another big topic of conversation. I know a number of organizations moving in that direction. So, you know, supply chain, if you're not global in supply chain, you're going to really struggle in finding that leadership role that, you know, as a candidate you might be looking for.
And can you talk about who is in demand?
You know, I would say two levels. First of all, you know, still looking for those vice president, C-level individuals that can really paint the picture for the right CEO and really show them how we can go about putting together a process and a program that's going to lower our costs but not affect the end user, whether that is another component manufacturer, whether that is the actual end user that would buy a complete product. That's the first person that's still in demand today. The second person is that lieutenant, that number two. In the field of search right now, whether it's supply chain or other areas, one of the big issues is succession planning. And so organizations are not only focused on making sure they've got the top level taken care of, they're really focused as well on making sure they've got that second level, that director or assistant vice president, whatever title you want to give it, level secure as well, so that if and when that top individual moves on, there's consistency in the organization. There's not the big expense to, quite honestly, come out and find me to find that next VP or C-level supply chain leader. You know, we just need to simply replace that director level again and make sure our succession plan is fulfilled. So those are the two real areas right now that are in demand.
And how do you select the right executives?
How do I select the right executives? That is a loaded question, to be quite frank with you. Certainly there's the process of going about and looking in the marketplace. And the first thing I do with clients is I basically interview them. You know, who are we looking for? Not only the technical skills we're looking for, what are the soft skills? What is the personality of this person look like? What is what is going to mesh well with the rest of the leadership team? Is it a driven person? Is it somebody who's a little bit more laid back? Those type questions to really put a complete profile together, not just a technical profile. And that's first and foremost. And then you've got to go out and, if you're coming to retain search to find your next candidate, likelihood is you want somebody with industry experience, discrete manufacturing or food processing or consumer products, whatever it might be. You want that person to have played in your sandbox before, so to speak. So that means my job is to go out and dig through that sandbox and not only work my network, work sites like LinkedIn, but still to this day, and this is a little old school, I'll be honest with you, Dustin, I believe in the power of the cold call. I believe in just simply taking a list of companies after I've done some of those other things and calling through and asking for the appropriate individual and just saying, hey, who do you know, or are you interested yourself? And then it's, of course, the interview process, the evaluation of what they've done, the checks and balances of what they've done, the referencing becomes so critical at the upper levels because you really got to make sure, not only do you like the person, but can they give you solid references that can really back up what they've talked about that they've actually done. And so that's where your network comes into play a lot. Who do you know that might know this individual type thing? Not that you don't do formal references, but backdoor references, in my humble opinion, are always better because, quite honestly, they're usually more truthful with you.
And thank you, Jeff, for sharing your insights on the executive search and the supply chain.
You're very welcome, and thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.